But at least now it can't get much worse.
But it did get worse.
Yes, it only gets worse for Johnny Somali, aka Ramsey Khalid Ismael, as he possibly had one of the worst days in his life in the Korean courtrooms this morning. Oh my goodness. We're going to have a fun one tonight, and we should be joined by Legal Mindset in a couple of minutes. But before he gets here, let's go over the articles that now state that he faces up to 36 years in jail. That's right, working on the cabbage farms. The future is not that far away. Or actually, it kind of is, though, because he's basically going to be spending the next year of his life in the Korean courtroom systems before even getting his sentencing. So let's take a look at what Dex Turto said. But today was absolutely mad. He showed up late for court. He should have got a contempt of court charge because he was warned of that the last time, but he was only a couple minutes late, so the judge kind of gave him a bit of a reprieve. Afterwards, I'm not even kidding, this is actual footage of Johnny Somali after the court case. It's pretty wild. But all right, let's get into the beginning, and then we'll go through the things as they come up. Be sure to like the stream. You know, I am a small, struggling streamer, so I need every little like I can get. It's very sad, very rough out there for us small streamers like me and a certain friend of mine who likes to sit in the chat alone in the dark without saying anything, kind of like something he's used to doing. But anyway, Johnny Somali pleads not guilty to deepfake charges as he faces up to 36 years in jail. Now, this is the maximum, and there's a little bit of exaggeration here. The reality is that he's not going to get this much time. I mean, it's possible, but it's very, very unlikely. My estimate would be, what do you think, chat? What do you think? I'm thinking at least 3 years at this point. The problem is that the deepfake charges, which he is going to have to fight, and like I said, this is going to take up to a year to resolve in court if my estimates are right. Because if you don't know anything about the Korean court system, basically what happens is every time you have a new charge, you have to come back a month later or more and plead guilty. And that's exactly what happened today. He waited a month, he came back, more charges came up in the interim. Then he has to plead guilty or not guilty. He pled not guilty to 2 today. And instead of being 1 month later, he has to come back in August. And that's not good for him for several reasons. But I guess that means we'll have a bit of a break, bit of a summer break as we wait for him. But it'll be hot and muggy in South Korea. That's probably the worst. That's probably the worst time to go to court, actually, because those Asian summers are brutal. It's like 40 degrees Celsius. I think that's over 100 Fahrenheit. It's 100% humidity. Everyone's going to be cranky. Everyone's going to be angry, and they're not going to give him any leeway. Also, Mr. Me with $10 for the first super chat says, how much to get you to put in an inflatable T-Rex costume to do the stream? Asking for a friend. I guess $100 plus the cost of the costume. That would be my rate there. But thank you very much for the tenner. So you're already partially way there. All right, streamer Johnny Somali, real name Ramsey Khalid Ismael, pled not guilty. Well, it's actually Ismail, I guess. I always say Ishmael, but it's Ismail. Has pled not guilty to distributing deepfakes after showing up to his second court date. Now, there was a very funny moment in the court today where the judge asked the Korean defendant, lawyer, who we're going to talk about him a bit later as well, because he's a bit of an interesting character. He's a bit of a Korean Better Call Saul and a bit of a friend of Hank's family, but not necessarily the best, as he did get reprimanded today for not correctly signing one of the documents he put in yesterday. They asked him, is there any evidence that could prove your client's innocent on the deepfakes? And he said, no, he does not. And here you can see, this is one of the first deepfakes. And I actually thought that this was the first one we brought up, but it seems like the Korean male streamers, which I think includes Dalgun. I'll ask Andrew when he gets here. That came up as well. Now, you might think this is not a big deal, but this is absolutely a serious crime in South Korea, and they have a bit of an issue with it. But anyway, he pled not guilty, even though he has no exculpatory evidence. In 2024, Somali traveled to South Korea and began causing controversy in the country, just as he did in Japan and Israel. In numerous broadcasts, he filmed himself disrupting businesses, disrespecting Korean culture, and inappropriately dancing on a statue of peace. A monument to the victims of sexual slavery during World War II. This is a really big deal. And if you know anything about Japan and Korea, Japan did some very naughty things in South Korea, and the Koreans are still very much upset with it. And there's a lot of rivalry between those various Asian countries. And the thing is, there are people from this that were victims of the World War II atrocities that are still alive. So this is like you have a and this is so prevalent in South Korea. To put this into perspective, this is like you had a sister or a grandmother who was taken advantage of by a foreign invading country. And this monument is to commemorate their suffering. And then some guy comes over and starts rubbing baby oil on it, starts twerking on it, starts groping it. So this basically disrespects every single individual in South Korea. Like people say, well, it's just a statue. It's not just a statue. It's one of the most clear examples of atrocities in the mind of South Koreans. His antics led to him being arrested and charged. During his first court appearance, he showed up late and hungover. That was a very fun one. And I believe he actually got warned on his first charge there as well, to not be tardy again, which he did do again today. However, he pled guilty to obstruction of business for causing chaos in a 7-Eleven. Now, what he actually did here, and my voice is still a bit raw, so excuse me. What he actually did here was he intentionally spilled these noodles. Like he likes to pretend that it was like a no big deal, like he just spilt. Oh, whoopsie, accident, spilled it. No, he purposely poured out the noodles and was also committing a crime in the convenience store, which is drinking in a convenience store, which is illegal in South Korea. It's been changed recently, I believe. So the woman that came up to warm him was actually trying to help him and trying to just do her business the way she's supposed to do it. And then the second that she turns around, just this old, lovely Korean woman who's probably working minimum wage, probably just wants to get through her day without listening to this annoying, loud American guy that's just blaring loud music, spilling water, noodles, alcohol all over the store. She has to clean that shit up. And he was purposely trying to make it so that she would clean it up to entertain his audience. It was literally premeditated for the purpose of enriching his own life. So I have no sympathy whatsoever for him. So when he says he was obstruction of guilt, like it goes a bit deeper than that. Just causing chaos in a 7-Eleven. He has 2 counts of the Minor Crimes Act after he harassed people with a dead fish and twerked on the subway. On May 16th, Ismael and his second court had his second court appearance, in which he faced more obstruction of business charges for allegedly creating deepfakes. Now, I believe my understanding is he did not create the deepfakes, but he broadcast them on his stream. He used it to say that him and a female streamer, Bong Bong, were in a relationship, and then he played the video of him in this deepfake kissing her, which is a sexual crime in South Korea. Now, the other deepfakes, I believe, were making male Korean streamers kiss, and I believe Dalgun is one of those people. That's the person that punched Johnny Somali in the head and then got charged $7,000 for it, which was promptly paid off by donut operator, amongst others. Give me a sec. Oh my gosh, my throat's never going to clear up. Creating a deepfake in South Korea is a crime that comes with multiple penalties of 5.5 years in jail. Johnny Somali pleads not guilty to deepfakes, despite showing up late for his first court appearance and being warned by the judge. Somali was reportedly late again and had his lawyer looking over him in the courtroom before taking the stand. As per YouTube Legal Mindset. Oh, look at that. Legal Mindset. We'll have to play his theme song when he gets in here late. But if he's more than 5 minutes late, I'm putting his name on a tombstone in my thumbnail. Somali faced 2 counts of distributing deepfakes, but disputed these claims, pleading not guilty. However, his lawyer couldn't provide any evidence of his innocence, something Johnny Somali denies. Furthermore, he pled guilty to playing loud music on a bus, causing it to be late. Now, causing a bus to be late is obstruction of business. And this is if buses and trains are really on time in Asia. Like in Japan, I know that Japan and Korea are different, but you have to use my examples from my own experiences. If a train is more than a minute late in Japan, the train company issues a public apology and they give you a certificate of lateness to prove to your boss that you were late, not because of your own fault, but because of the train shenanigans. The general time frame that trains are late in Japan, like, is unacceptable, is 10 seconds. That's about the allowance they give you. Now, buses in Korea, when I was in Korea in Busan, when I went to go see Legal Vices, Jeff, obviously, miss him every day, they were always there. It was actually really stunning how nice they were, and they're really comfortable too. So causing them to be late, it disrupts the entire schedule. People make their entire lives around these schedules. If they're late and their boss doesn't accept, like, well, the bus was late, they don't accept that because they don't believe it. This is a big deal, and potentially causes a lot of trouble down the line for the bus agency as well, as it mars their reputation. And face is so important in these Asian countries. Let me see. He also caused a disruption at the theme park Lotte World. Now, this was actually an interesting one, and when Andrew gets here, if he gets here, he may tell you a bit about this, because we were a bit confused, because everyone was expecting that he was going to get another SA charge or something to that effect, because he was playing loud music that was broadcasting sexualized words in Korean around minors, around young kids. Lotte World is a lot like Disneyland for the Koreans. So obviously a very heinous, disgusting thing to do. But actually, it seems like this is going to end up being another disruption charge, because it caused a ride to have to be stopped so that they could evacuate the kids away from his disgusting behavior, according to the Korean media. However, Somali told Dexerto that he has pled not guilty to both the deepfakes as well as the third count of obstruction of business. Now, this is actually a point of contention, and there seems to be a mistake in the record. At least what I can... at least from what I can ascertain. I believe that his lawyer pled guilty to this in court. Now, this may be a mistake, and my understanding is that he has sort of like an interesting accent. Like I said, he sounds a little like Better Call Saul, but the Korean version of that. However, if he did incorrectly enter this plea, because Johnny wanted to plead not guilty for this, if a Korean lawyer puts in a guilty plea, in most cases, I believe they just go with what the lawyer said. There is no do-overs here. So this is actually very serious, and you kind of get what you pay for, because you have to remember that Johnny Somali is completely out of money. He is scrounging for $2 super chats so that he can suck alcohol off the floor. And speaking of alcohol, I have a little bit of a celebration soju tonight. Some chummy sol, but I'll crack into that at the end of the stream while I'm relaxing, you know. Obstruction of business carries a maximum penalty of 5 years, and with 3 counts, Somali is looking at a maximum of 15 years behind bars for those alone. Each deepfake charge carries a maximum penalty of 10.5 years. So in total, Ismael could be serving 36 years in jail. Oh my gosh. Somali's next trial date is scheduled for August 13th, 2025, and will be a full day of testimony. This may not be the end of Johnny Somali's charges either. Ismael, accused of threatening to spread HIV. This is an actual threat he made on stream against live streamers who talk about his case, about YouTubers, including Andrew, Atozi, and others. If you remember the last time we talked about Johnny Somali, he threatened to send booty goons to Thailand and the Philippines for some reason. I don't know why he would send them to the Philippines. Maybe to go find Vitali, which is a bit strange. It's a bit strange. But he claims that he has this army of booty goons. Now, I do believe in the army of booty goons, but they're not exactly working for Somali. They're working for his cabbage hole, if you know what I mean. So that should be fun. That should be fun. Broadcasting North Korean propaganda. Now, Korea and South Korea are actually still at war. They haven't armatized. So this is actually a serious thing to do. In fact, when I flew to Seoul, a few years ago, actually it was quite a few years ago at this point, they would not even let us take photos from the plane of the Seoul metro area. They closed all the windows because they're concerned about North Korean spies. And that's one of the reasons that Google Maps is so terrible when you visit Korea. It's because they don't want it to be easy for the North Koreans. So this is a serious thing, as well as violating anti-terrorism laws. Now, let me just give me a second. I got to play someone's theme song before I let him in.
Legal mindset. Legal mindset.
Hey, how are we doing, Copium crew?
How's it going? Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a little bit too long, Josh. I mean, I've been too long in the cabbage mines, so it's been difficult. And I know it's difficult for you because you've got 573 people watching, and I know it's hard for you to handle over 500 live viewers. I know it's really difficult according to Minnesota lawyers.
It's very difficult, but we actually do have a message for the chat from our sponsor, and it's about hitting that like button.
Hit like if you like the show. If you don't like the show, don't hit like or hit thumbs down. Be like, this guy sucks. I don't mind. But if you do like the show, hit that like button. It really does. I got to remind YouTube that I'm here. They are not distributing things out.
It's a conspiracy, I'm sure.
It's a huge conspiracy. It's absolutely a conspiracy. I think the entire government actually planned that one.
Yeah. But so we had a bit of an interesting day, didn't we? And
very interesting, with a lot of stuff happening, a lot of unexpected stuff. I mean, we had it's not ever happened in the Somali case where there's been a charge that I didn't know about that just came out of nowhere, especially since this one is really a bombshell, and it could be a game changer for Somali and actually for Hank too.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go through chronologically, and I've yoinked a bunch of your slides to pretend that I prepared for this.
Okay. Yes.
So that's what we'll have to do.
You've yoinked my pee-pee. I really should sue you over that.
Goodness. Someone was complaining I'm really red in comparison. I'm going to turn this down. I don't know. My white balance is all off.
It's white balance, not the alcoholism, just the white balance.
Hey, look, if your entire face is red, when I go out for a coffee break and I come back with a red nose, nobody can tell. The Pie Baker with 20 says, "Gents, I need advice. I'm in the Eastern District of Antarctica on charges of showing my PowerPoint to traffic. The only choices for representation, I think, is Nick R." You have to be careful to put the space there. Or Greer. No ceiling fans will support my weight. What do? You're snuffed, I think. I think you're just
find an iceberg. Find your nearest iceberg.
What, and jump off it?
Yes, or into it. In Minecraft.
Billy Oki says 250 kg weeaboo and the gay lawyer. Oh my goodness. This is defamation. I'm 240 pounds, which is actually a pound heavier than Homer Simpson.
He's barely allowed on the Godzilla ride. He is barely allowed on the Godzilla ride.
Barely allowed. And JP Ravenfire with a member status. Thank you very much. All right, let's get into this as the day goes. We'll start before the trial because
this looks totally unfamiliar. I've never seen this before.
Yeah. So like the fireworks sort of started actually like a week before this, didn't it? Because there was an additional charge a few days before. Am I correct?
Yeah, the deepfake charge came down officially, and it was a second deepfake charge. So that put him at not just one, but two deepfake charges, which really, one is bad enough because the way that Korea does deepfake charges, they can bundle them so they can put in multiple deepfakes under one charge or multiple people under one charge. So this not only meant that, because there's two counts of deepfakes, that not only did he do one deepfake, but he did multiple and to multiple people. So that really changed the game. And the thing with deepfakes is at the level that Somali had them, because they are sexual in nature, kissing is considered sexual in Korea. It's considered sexual because it implies a romantic relationship. Essentially, if you are kissing, you are fucking. That's what they assume. And generally that's true, right, Josh? I mean, that's generally true, right?
Yeah, public displays of affection are pretty rare in Asia. I mean, it's kind of changing a little bit, but even holding hands is kind of a little bit awkward where I live. Obviously, there's a bit more allowances in like sort of the Kansai region. But yeah, it's a bit weird, honestly. But yeah, kissing in public or photos of people kissing, you will only ever do that with someone that you're basically in a sexual relationship with. At least in Japan, I assume it's fairly similar in Korea, but
it's pretty similar in Korea. And the thing is about the level at which they're charged. It's a mandatory prison, meaning there's no fine option for a lot of these. Like for example, for the interference with business, which I'm changing the way I reference it to interference with business instead of obstruction, so it's not confusing for Americans. But with that charge, they can give a fine. So,
oh my goodness, you got the cough.
Yeah,
too.
sorry. Hold on. I need a little refresher here. I guess I'll have to crack this strong zero and just.
Nice. That's kind of funny because I've got a chummy song.
Oh, we're trading places today.
we're
We're
trading.
trading places in representation, in unification, perhaps, of expats who have been in Korea and Japan. So
I was going to
cheers.
wait to the end of the stream, but why not? Why not?
Oh, well, no,
You
come
know
on.
the best
come on.
thing about a nice shot of Chomisol or a
What's
drink
the
of
best
Strong
thing?
Zero? It's knowing that Nick can't have one. Cheers.
Cheers to
Bye-bye.
that. Cheers to that.
Tastes
Konbe.
good. Tastes
Ah,
good.
yes,
All
Konbe.
right.
So the thing is, it's mandatory prison. There's no fine option. So the judge cannot give him a fine. The only thing he could do to get him out of prison time is to award a suspended sentence. But when I'm telling you right now, the probability of him even getting one suspended sentence on one count is low. He has 2 counts. So the probability of him getting a suspended sentence on both of those is near zero. It would actually be pretty, crazy for him to get a suspended sentence for both of those, which means he'd do mandatory prison time, which is really what everybody wants in this case. Everyone wants Johnny to be behind bars for some period of time and not just get a fine, which will be perceived as a slap on the wrist. So that's why the deepfakes have been such a big thing, and that's why he pled not guilty to both of them.
Yeah, I really think that, like, if it was somebody else that did these sort of things, like was being a troublemaker in one of these countries, I could probably allow them getting like a fine or a deportation. But the problem with specifically nuisance streamers is that, or Johnny was implying, and I don't know if it's true or not, probably isn't, but he was saying that he was making about $1,000 a day. He was in Japan for about a month, so that's about $30,000. If you walk away from a country with even a $15,000 fine, that's just a business expense. So
Correct.
the punishment really has to be commensurate to the crime. But I actually have my own theory about, and it kind of goes into the
and by the way,
processes of punishment, but
Josh,
go on.
that's a low estimate. And by the way, you've always been accurate. I want to shout out Josh here. Since I started on YouTube, Josh has been very insightful with analytics and with YouTube money and with things that are going on YouTube. And part of my success is listening to Josh's advice, despite the fact that he's a smaller streamer.
Ridiculous. I mean, if you
how
could
can you give
listen to
advice?
somebody who doesn't have 20,000 live viewers or something?
I know it's really weird, right? But one of the things that people don't account for is all the off YouTube revenue. I mean, not only do you not see ad revenue, but we're talking about brand deals, et cetera. And you have a Patreon, Ko-Fi, whatever. And for kick streamers, for nuisance streamers, for example, the IP crew in Japan, a lot of them were making thousands of dollars a day. In fact, I heard that Ice Poseidon was making up $6,000 to $8,000 a day for streaming on those casino sites, because the casino sites really want people to gamble and they really want to incentivize that. So they give them thousands of dollars per day. So that is absolutely a slap on the wrist for them if they are able to not get prison time. That's the only thing they're mad about, is when they get detained so they can't keep streaming. That's the only thing.
These platforms, they know exactly what they're doing as well, because they incentivize them to go and cause trouble, just get any attention, and they use them up and spit them out. And that's what Johnny's experiencing, is that he's basically being used up and now spat out, and now he's like floundering over from platform to platform to platform. And I think he's on YouTube now, but I don't imagine that'll last long.
And actually, with he's using Hank's name on YouTube, but with the platform to platform, he actually got screwed over by Party. He was out there promoting the Party platform. He was out there pumping it, and he received zero revenue. He has not gotten anything. They essentially rugged him, and which is funny because they're a platform that uses crypto. So you should expect, if you're paid in crypto, you're going to get rugged. But he got screwed over by these platforms. He also is making near zero on Rumble. I actually saw his earnings. They were leaked to me. He made like a total of $1.30 on Rumble. So he did not have a Rumble contract, unlike other Minnesota lawyers at some point. So he was not making those big bucks on Rumble.
Seems like you've got spies inside every cabbage or something. It's outrageous.
Well, when you piss off enough people, in fact, I can say this is a little bit of leak. I haven't leaked this information.
Don't spoil too much. We're streaming about this after.
No. This is exclusive to Copium.
Okay,
I want to give some exclusive Copium stuff. We have more people inside of the system that are leaking information to us now, to the Somali conviction team. That is everybody involved. After today, we have even more people because they're able to get in contact with us more often because we've been going.
Speaking of the Somali conviction team, I received a message today from this chap, Mr. Dr. Alaric. Yes, he sent me a message. He said that he wanted me to read. So I'll just go through this. It's very, very quick. He says, because he was there today, amongst others, and he said that I called Johnny a midget in Korean at the entrance of the court, and the police officer had to hide a laugh. Oh, no.
Yes. Yes, he did.
He
did.
in Korean. Can we get some cabbages or W's in the chat?
Get some W's for the short. And the thing is, that's not defamation. That's a fact. But Hank turned around and actually committed insult/defamation because he went and insult is a crime in Korea, and he cursed at them and he said F their mothers and threatened them, etc. So all those people that were there, especially the foreigners, that were around him, they could turn around, go to the Songpa police station, go to the Mapo police station, and file a police report against Hank, who has no criminal charges that we know of so far against him. So Hank actually, by crashing out, by going on tilt, by getting pissed off, may have opened himself up to criminal action, which is awesome.
Okay. So going back to the day as it began. So the courtroom was packed, and Johnny was 10 minutes late. Is that correct?
He was 10 minutes late. His lawyer was looking for him.
Oh, no. So, and Johnny was warned about this before, wasn't he? He was threatened with contempt of court because last time he showed up drunk and...
Correct.
Because he was drinking the night before, saying he was going to get a slap on the wrist, saying he was going to use the insanity defense. Didn't really work out like that in reality. And I believe there was a bit of drama beforehand. Like he said, he was going to show up wearing a certain costume. Is that also correct? I was trying to catch up.
I do have a picture of. If you want me to show you the rooftop video,
I've got that on your Twitter. Or do you have a?
I've got the Twitter, and then have you seen the actual?
I have actually, yeah.
Okay, now I'm not going to play the actual video because it contains hateful message. Which, by the way, YouTube has been age restricting my videos because of Somali's language, which I found out today.
I've pre-prepared one in advance that has a altered soundtrack. But hopefully the audio doesn't get picked up. But we'll go over to your Twitter here. And this is RKI update. Hank Yo's neighbor just now filmed Hank and Ramsey on cosplaying in a KKK outfit on a rooftop of Hank's apartment building. I'll just mute this and we'll have a quick look. So I heard that Johnny said he was going to show up to court dressed like this, but then he chickened out. He didn't even wear his MAGA hat today, apparently. He
actually, so according to the media, he was wearing it outside. He took it off and put it back on when he was outside. So he's scared of the court now. Before that forced case, he said he didn't give a fuck. He was going to do whatever. He's going to flip off the judge. Now he is broken. He's scared, and today he was quiet and actually told Hank to stop crashing out because I think he's genuinely fearful, and I think despite his machismo on some of his streams, he is genuinely scared of what's coming down because he has seen more and more charges stacking up against him.
All right, so here is my altered edition of this. I've removed his watermark and also muted the soundtrack, but I have the alternative soundtrack. And let me just make sure that's playing correctly. Here we go. All right. So you just have to use your imagination. But fortunately enough, he did add a couple of subtitles. So it seems like his play is now to, I guess, appeal to Kanye and Bill Cosby and people. I don't think it's going to work. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to work out, chat? Drop a 1 in the chat if you think it's going to work, and a 2 if no.
Yeah, it's just weird. He calls himself first of all, he is not Jewish. He is Muslim. His background is Muslim, but he calls himself like a Jew in this. It's just a weird appeal. Ye is not saving him. America is not saving him. Trump is not saving him. Nobody's coming to save this guy.
Well, I mean, even in the documentary that's coming out on Johnny Somali, they talked about how they literally don't give a shit about any of the politics, and they just want to try and use whoever's famous to try and get them to get removed out of Korea, like by appealing to Trump, Marco Rubio, I guess the fellow shot king or something. Who can say?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, we'll go into something. I'll just clear these chats out real quick. Marshall with the 2 says Ramsey Khalid Ismael learned to be late watching the Legal Mindset streams. That's true. He does watch every stream.
Oh, and every stream has 1 or 2 dislikes, which is always Ramsey and Hank. It's hilarious because they're like right away and immediate, and you know that's Ramsey. Like I know it's Ramsey. It's just it's very hilarious.
Are they even monetized on YouTube, or are they suffering? Every super chat makes them suffer.
They had a notice that they got partnership, but that doesn't necessarily mean monetization automatically. And I'm not sure whether that channel, people said it's being taken down or there were some problems with it. He's certainly not making serious money or any money on it. And clips like this, which by the way will get hundreds of thousands of views on my channel, and will get like 500 views on that. So. He is.
There's a problem in your strategy, Mr. Mindset. You don't realize his next court date is not until August. You've got 3 months of no content. What are you going to do?
Oh man, if only there's other nuisance streamers out there, if only there's other legal content to cover, if only there's other topics that I can cover for that time. If only Ramsey is going to be quiet for 3 months, because of course, over the past 6 months, he's been so quiet and nothing has happened. If only new charges won't be filed against him next week. Oh wait, did I say that out loud? If only there aren't things that are going to come out exposing him. If only the Korean media isn't going to put pressure on him over the next couple months. Yeah, I think there'll be plenty of stuff that happening over the next months, even regarding Ramsey.
We have an alternative photo of Johnny as well in his costume. There you go. Very, very accurate.
Did you get that from Spicer?
Perhaps. Brown Bat also with 5 Canadian says, I'm waiting for Hank to get I'm waiting for Hank to get a trial. Harboring a criminal and disrespecting flags, shouting in a courtroom is also obstruction of business. Is that true? Can you shout in a Korean courtroom?
No, we'll pull that one up again. Pull that one up again.
Oh, just a second.
Okay, so I want to answer this to correct it, because there's one correction here and there's something else. So the first part is with the flags. I know a lot of other channels, and there's a lot of channels that they take like part of what I say, or they take video without any commentary or knowledge. They're non-lawyers and they talk about stuff. I've talked about the flag stuff. That actually is not going to really go. Neither is the terrorism stuff, because here's the reason. Korea doesn't want to be perceived as coming at him over petty stuff, or coming over him at stuff that he can even try to make the free speech argument, right? And once again, Korea is not in Japan. Same with Japan. They're not quote unquote free speech places. There's other rights that take precedence over your unabridged First Amendment right, which by the way, in the United States, you don't have either. So I don't think he's going to have anything more regarding the flag. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, shouting in the courthouse, it's not obstruction, it's contempt of court. Anything in or around the courthouse can be contempt of court. So that's where the real risk for him comes in, because the penalty for contempt of court is serious, and the judge has a very wide latitude to give a severe punishment for contempt of court.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't get one this morning, honestly. But I guess they're a little bit lenient.
Well, I mean, for what, 10 minutes? 10 minutes are lenient. If it had been an hour, maybe, right? 10 minutes is reasonable. You can get lost or whatever. And also, I do believe he was hiding outside because we had a packed courthouse. You may have seen the photos on my stream. There was
I want to go to one of these. I might go to the next one. Who knows?
You can go. I may see you there. I may or may not be there. They are packed. And at this point, it's going to be standing room only. Now, for the next one, there may be part of it that is closed because of victim testimony from Bong Bong. If they decide, if the victim says, I don't want anybody in the courtroom, they won't let anybody in the courtroom for the testimony to protect the victim. So it is possible that part of that could be closed. Now, there would be parts that would be open, and you could, of course, come and wait outside and see Ramsey there and mock him and all that good stuff. But we'll see about that next court date and who's the witness. Now, if it's the Korean streamers as well, Dalgoon and the others, they're all my friends. So they would 100% consent to everybody who's with me, with my team, the fans, to come inside, because they want those people there. So it's not a problem with the male streamers, but Bong Bong's kind of a wild card, and what she wants to allow or not allow.
Just a moment.
Sure. No problem.
Sorry, I just had some behind the scenes stuff I needed to take care of. All right, so let's go to the plea status before today. I believe these were your predictions.
Yeah, that was before today. Yes. Now I have had some updates to the trial.
Yes, I have the updated one here as well. But did you want to talk about this at all, or can we?
Yeah, sure. So this is actually a great one. So it kind of shows the surprise that we had today, because I came into this thinking there's 6 charges, and I also didn't know there was going to be an additional charge. And not only that, but we didn't know which the deepfakes were going to be, and we didn't know what the plea was going to be. So I was actually expecting that Johnny wanted to get out there as quickly as possible. And the way to do that is to plead guilty to everything. That would have been the quickest way to do it. Pleading not guilty extends this by months, and it really makes 2026 a realistic date for the end of this trial.
I actually laughed when I heard that he was going to plead not guilty, because, I mean, court cases just take forever in general. And there's no way he's getting out of Korea before 2026. But maybe we'll talk a bit about our predictions at the end of this or something. But then there was also the double shock of the next court cases in August, 3 months away. And I guess we could talk about it a little bit now, but it's often said that the process is the punishment. And there's 2 funny things that happen here. First of all, August in Asia, particularly in Japan and Korea, is an awful time to be wearing a suit. Like I don't know if you've been in a suit in
I have.
the first August I arrived in Japan, I had to wear a suit because it was like I was working. It is awful. You're sweaty, you're smelly, everyone's pissed off. There's ambulances going every which way because people are falling over from heat stroke. It's like 40 degrees Celsius. Like it's like over, what is it, 105 Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
And like 100% humidity. So everyone's going to be on edge. And they might be a little bit less forgiving because like right now it's like May, it's beautiful late spring weather, like the sun's out, it's perfect for strolling around. But that might be a little bit tricky for him. But yeah, as to say about the process being the punishment, how long has Johnny been in South Korea now? I think I have this in my notes.
He's almost up to a year. He'll be a year in like September, October. So by that time, he's definitely going to have been locked in Korea, effectively jailed in this country for over a year already, which is longer than he was, including his punishment in Japan, much longer than his time there already.
That's like an insane amount of time, especially for a young person. I think Johnny's like, what, 25, 26?
Yeah, exactly. He's going to waste his 20s in Korea. He's going to leave Korea. At this point, it's looking like he's going to leave in his 30s, Korea, if he's lucky.
Even if he gets away with just a fine, he's looking at spending at least a year. And, most people start their kind of adult lives around 22 after they finish like university. They're like on their own sort of thing. So they've got like that 8 years from 22 to 30. Those are like your formative years as a young adult. And they're so important for starting your career and getting like a splash in the world, especially as a man who often needs to, focus on their career to make any sort of mark on the world. If you lose 1 year of your 20s, that's 12% of some of your best, youngest years. He comes out of this and he's 30. What is he going to do? Nobody's going to remember the name of Johnny Somali. Nobody's going to care he was in prison 5 years ago. He has no skills. He has no experience. He has no platform. He has no support. He has no friends. What is he going to do?
And he's unhireable too, because he can't get a normal job. So at this point, anywhere he goes to get hired is going to know who he is, and it's not in a good way. And with, like you said, with nuisance streaming, they spit people out and chew them up, and there's a new guy every Tuesday. So there's already new nuisance streamers popping up. We had one here in Thailand that was trying to copy that guy Strekbruda by playing loud music in the metro, he got in trouble for that. This Persian guy, Iranian guy, and these guys pop up all the time. It's like whack-a-mole, and that's why the strong laws are needed against them. But it's also why they really need to think about their lives. And I think at some point these streamers, may have a wake-up call when they see everybody who does this gets arrested or gets in trouble or gets locked up eventually. Like it may not be the first month or two, but within a year or two, most of them catch charges or almost catch charges.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this video. One of the things he says in this, and I read through it myself. Sorry. And one of the things he says, it's because he's melanated. If it was a white person, this would never have happened to him. That's just simply not true, because we've seen what's happened with Vitaly. And Vitaly's got arguably a much worse punishment so far, because Vitaly might not even make it to trial.
You saw my update the other day. He had an arrhythmia.
I did. That's
you mean
the update where you're on your private island that you've stolen all the Johnny Somali money and the scam with Dalgoon, and you're like using it on your own.
Yes, my embezzled funds. No, my Johnny Somali fund. He 100% paid for that. By the way, he paid for this suit as well. This suit is a Johnny Somali paid for suit that I got in South Korea. I have another one over there that I'm going to wear for my stream. I'm wearing 2 Johnny Somali funded suits tonight. Johnny Somali vacations, Johnny Somali suits. I actually have 3 Somali suits, which is amazing.
Have you watched Arrested Development?
Yes.
I need to get those clips of Gob where he's talking about his $5,000 suit, and I just play those every time you come on or something.
The Somali money is in the banana stand. Never forget that. But that said, like I said, it's just a reminder that these guys could be doing other content. Look, there's lots of other IRL content you can do. You could walk around just like enjoying tropical fucking islands. You can walk around, eating delicious food. You can do all sorts of good content. There's this guy here, Mark Vine in Thailand. He literally never says a bad thing in any of his videos. He's smiling in every single one of his videos. He gets millions of views just going around and eating food and talking about how delicious it is. It's not hard to make content and be successful. They just don't want to put in the work to do that.
Well, yeah, they kind of think it's like the only sort of content to make. Like, don't they call like regular content just like non-tent or something?
Non-tent. They call it non-tent. Yeah, they call it non-tent.
Ridiculous.
And it's weird. All this non-tent money. I mean, it's hard to, deal with all of it.
All right, Mr. Moneybags. Let's get back to the stream.
F you, Copium. Listen, are you even able to function right now? I know you're being mind broken right now because we have 1,380 people watching right now, which, by the way, Johnny is live streaming right now. I think he has 225 people, and that's with viewbotting because he does viewbot. That's been pretty confirmed from the inside. So even with viewbotting, he's only got 225, which is pretty hilarious.
I mean, we'll do our best, right? Like, it's not easy for us small streamers. We can't all have, 20,000 live viewers like you or 5,000 live viewers.
21.
Like
it was 21K
21?
today. Let's get it right. 21,000 live viewers today.
Must be nice, I suppose.
I messed up though. I should have just been the 20th law tuber doing the Karen Reed trial. That would have been the real bullet for me if I did that.
Do you see my crash out doing the Karen Reed trial?
I saw that. You're just like lost. You're like,
good.
how do these people do it? I'm like, we do it with alcohol. That's how we know. But you've got to learn to do it. And even for me, and I only do the cases I enjoy. I've started to, and I've said my policy is going forward. I'm only watching the half day with the fast forward because it's just there's too many parts that are boring. There's too much dead time. So I'm not going to be doing like start in the morning, end in the evening. I'm just going to start halfway through and fast forward through the dead air because it's difficult.
Way to do it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get into this. So this was the what was going into expected, but then it updated to this. So this is the results of today's trial. Can you walk us through some of this?
Sure. So the first three you see there were from the first hearing. So he already pled to those. Now the obstruction of business, which is really, and once again, interference with business, that was the ramen. Now Johnny Somali in all of his videos, including this video, the Black Hood video, he keeps saying, I'm locked up for throwing a bowl of ramen. That is one count out of 7 criminal counts.
This story makes me really angry. Sorry, I got to interject for a second because he always says like, oh my goodness, I spilt a bowl of noodles. How could you do this? But when you actually look, he didn't spill it. He poured it out specifically to cause the poor old granny that worked there the stress of having to clean it up after she'd already told him to close his alcohol. Like, it was ridiculous.
And the thing is, if he had just spilled the ramen, he actually wouldn't have been charged. He was charged because he argued with her, yelled at her, threatened her, cursed at her. If he hadn't interacted with her, if he just spilled it and walked off, he actually wouldn't be charged. That's something that people do all the time. Drunk people spill stuff in konbinis in Japan or in Konichums in Korea all the time. It's not criminal. They would, if it's accidental, whatever, they would have just let it go. It's because he created a disruption. It's because he argued, and that's for many of these charges. By the way, I have an update on the second obstruction, which is actually hilarious. But he pled guilty to the first obstruction, the first one, the Minor Crimes Act #1. That was for the rotting fish. He went and harassed people with that, and it was really awkward, really inappropriate, and it was out of nowhere. So that he pled guilty to. He pleaded guilty to Minor Crimes #2, which was disturbing the bus and metro. He did that multiple times, but that's one count. Now the next one, this is one that he got he got it before the first case, and his own lawyer, the public defender at the time, didn't know about it, but I did. And in fact, he said it was full of shit. He said it was fake. Well, guess what? It was true. And it turns out it was for playing loud music on the bus. But not only that, I got a new fact from my translators today. It was for monkey noises, Josh. Monkey noises.
What do you
so?
What could you mean by monkey noises?
He was making literal baboon noises, like he was making those noises on the bus, and it caused, here's the big part, it caused the bus to be late because the driver had to get up and yell at him. And when a Korean bus is even 1 or 2 minutes late, it disrupts the entire system, which is per se obstruction. You've now messed with the business. It is not operating as it should be. Per se obstruction, 100% guilty. He did plead guilty to that today. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I mean, is that the same way in Japan where like buses and stuff are generally on time?
Japanese buses are, I very rarely use the bus. The only place you use the bus in Japan is in like the countryside, or I guess in Kyoto, you might take a bus to like from the Kyoto station, but I always take the subway or a taxi. But the trains are more the main conveyance. And if they're even a minute late, and typically they're less than 10 seconds like away from their schedule. If they're a minute late, the train company issues you an apology and they give you a piece of paper that proves that they were late, so you can hand it to your boss and then not get fired, because being late is unacceptable in Japanese culture unless someone, well, I don't want to say it, but someone causes the train to be delayed via.
Sure. Yeah, don't say that. Yeah. But yeah, so that one he's guilty on. Now here's where the mix up comes. So the first deepfake count was actually for the male Korean streamers kissing. So one of them is definitely Dalgoon. He's the UDT Underwater Demolition Team Special Forces guy who I interviewed. That's like the Korean Navy SEALs equivalent.
Yes.
Super bass, super cool. He actually, so I can divulge this. This is a legal mindset. This is a legal mindset meme copium special. Once again, giving you the special copium. The special copium. Dalgoon was the one who gave me the leaked rooftop video. Because one of his supporters passed it along to him, and he passed me. So Based Dalgoon, thank you, Based Dalgoon, Dalgoon W, recording Ramsey and his Instagram boyfriend Hank on the roof, looking like a bunch of losers cosplaying. And he's going to be perhaps testifying for this. Now, Ramsey pled not guilty to that. That would carry a maximum penalty of 10.5 years. There were also deepfakes of other Korean streamers, Youngman, J Company, Bang TV. They may also be asked to come in. So that's number one. Number two is Bong Bong. Now, that is separate because, once again, they take very seriously right now, especially female. And I know, people can say it shouldn't make a difference. Well, there's a lot of serious crime in Korea against women related to deepfakes. And the other thing with Bong Bong is he went around telling people that she was his girlfriend and he was her boyfriend. That is extraordinarily reputation. That is massive nuke to reputation damage. So it's not just that she kisses, because, Johnny's defense is, but she does OnlyFans. Okay, that's fine. But, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't make you more innocent. It's the he was speeding, I was speeding, try to defense. But he's a cuck and I'm a cuck, Nick Rekieta defense, right? It doesn't get you out of the charge. It doesn't get you out of the accusation. And with this case, with Bong Bong, saying you're the boyfriend of somebody is very serious, and that's something that other people have done, which has led people to self-harm and other stuff like that has been very, very bad. So he pled not guilty to that. That is something he said he's going to fight it like OJ. But the fun fact from today was that the judge asked his lawyer, "What proof of innocence do you have?" Do you know what his response was, Josh?
I believe he said nothing.
We have nothing.
There's nothing. Yeah.
Nothing at the moment. So they have no proof of innocence. Zero proof of innocence.
Oh my! Hold on, I got to play this in regards to the Dalgoon story about his thing.
Now it's time to see which of our stories are based. Was this story based? Yes. Was this story based? Yes, it was. If you thought this story was based, you're right.
There we go. Very, very based. Very based. But yeah, one thing, I think people sometimes don't really quite understand just how serious the deepfakes are, because it seemed like a very small issue, like AI. It's kind of a new sort of legal area, but in South Korea, it's such an important thing. Like, face is so important in Korea, especially Asian countries in general.
And people were sending if you look at the Nth Room case, it's really insane. People were blackmailing people into sexual acts. They were doing these of their teachers. They were doing these of their classmates. This is a serious, serious problem, especially in Korea. Korea generated a massive amount of deepfakes. So this is why they have this, and they're really on this right now. It's a hot topic, which is not liked. And remember, he had the top prosecutor, female prosecutor, who's one of the top 11, and also the head of the sexual crimes against women and children division for the police investigating him. So this is something they took very, very, very seriously. So he can face, once again, 10.5. So those two together, just the deepfakes, that's 21 years, mandatory prison. Unless the judge decided to give a suspended sentence, mandatory prison. Now, the judge doesn't have to give 21 years, once again, but they'd have to give something.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a surprise because, the Lotte Worlds people, I believe Johnny got a text saying that his it was dismissed, but they actually brought it back. And
No. Here's the confusion on this with the third obstruction.
All right.
So there were two charges related to Lotte World. One was obstruction, and one was child sexual harassment. So for the child sexual harassment, that one did get dropped because they said there was insufficient evidence. Now, put a pin in that. We're going to talk about that in a second. But obstruction is something I brought up in November of 2024. So with the interference with business, obstruction of business, if you stop anything in the business for even 1 second, it's per se, it's automatic obstruction. He stopped the ride We have it on video. That's all that's needed to prove that. They had to shut down a ride because he was causing such a disturbance in line. So Lotte World has him dead to rights. Now, here's the spin. Here's why there's 2 asterisks on that guilty.
I was wondering about that.
According to Korean media, and according to the records that I have from court from the people that were there, Dr. Alarik, the Somali conviction team, we check notes. His lawyer does have a heavy Daegu accent, a heavy Southern accent, so it's kind of hard to understand him. But according to everybody that is reported on this, that's not Ramsey, he pled guilty. Ramsey said, I pled not guilty to the deepfakes and the new obstruction. So this may be a question at the next trial, because usually they'll reaffirm what you pled guilty and not guilty to. We'll see if he tries to do not guilty. But to be honest, it's kind of a waste because there's no realistic defense to that. The only thing it's going to do is piss off the judge and prosecutor because they're going to have to waste more time bringing witnesses. And Lotte World will crush him. They have an entire legal department. They have massive amount of video. This is a chaebol. Like, these people have more money than God. Like, they are insanely rich.
And we have
they can also
over here as well, actually.
Here's the other thing too, Josh. They can bring claims in the United States.
That would be the funniest if he finally gets out of Korea in 10 years' time. And then the second he lands in the U.S., he gets served. That would be very funny.
With a civil judgment. Absolutely. 100%.
It's not looking so good for
Somali bros.
Somali, yeah.
No.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me clear out these chats real quick and then we'll continue. RKI looks like a plug in that video. Yes, he does. In fact, someone else suggested that. Johnny Somali picked a pack of cabbages. Yes. If Johnny Somali packed cabbage, how many cabbage did Johnny Somali pick? Release the memes. Thank you very much.
There's a lot of memes.
There is. They're good too. What up, nerds? I'm surprised RKA wasn't hungover. Well, he will be tonight, I'd imagine.
He actually said tonight, because he was streaming and somebody reported to me that, like, he said, oh, I'm drinking beer tonight, not wine, because I want to stay sober, which is kind of hilarious. But I think it's because Hanky Poo's cut him off, so they don't have enough money for wine.
Okay. Miami Game Hunter says that 2025 minus 31 equals 1994. Think about it. PS1 was near. I mean, that's true, I suppose. Yeah. There's good games on PS1. Do you have a favorite PS1 game?
Yeah, on PS1, I played Gran Turismo a shit ton.
Oh, that was a great game. Grand Theft Auto 2.
Fantastic game.
Yeah, I think mine was probably Metal Gear Solid, but there were some really good games in there.
Legends of Legaia too. I played that a lot. But anyways.
Oh, yeah. Gamer Crom says memecopium and legal mindset equal RKI cabbage farmer. Indeed.
Yeah.
Good to have
felt it
tonight. Robert Van Berg says about not guilty plea deepfakes. Do they think they lack of evidence, or is it incompetence of the defense?
It's you're always, Robert, you're always allowed to plead not guilty. You're allowed. It's part of your due process, right? Even in America, right? Even if you're clear, we see this with murderers and severe cases where we have we have the video we saw with like Sarah Boone, for example. Like, it's clear she murdered this dude, right? But she is allowed to exercise her right and claim that it's something else. That something else happened, right? You're allowed to argue that. You're allowed to do that. Now, the lawyers, unfortunately, I feel bad for Johnny's lawyer because he has to deal with an abysmal client, which, if the client says plead not guilty, they have to go through with that plea. They can't say, no, he's actually guilty, right? So I think RKI had already gone out and said, I'm going to fight this like OJ. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight this. And the judge did have a reaction. He seemed very annoyed when they brought up the not guilty plea. So he was like shocked and annoyed that they pled not guilty to the deepfakes, because in the judge's mind, the evidence is all there, because this is all on video.
Mm-hmm. Good explanation. Keps Films of Melbourne with an 8 says, I hope Scam Man Somali gets locked up in a white interrogation room so he'll get trauma and PTSD. I think he's going to be traumatized in the cabbage fields.
The Korean jail,
The Korean jail, yeah. Some... Well, I'll try and keep it as PG as I can for now. Maybe later. We'll see.
Let's keep it kosher.
Solon the Lich with a 200 ASR. What is that?
Ooh, that is Argentine.
Oh, very nice. It says, Gianni Salami will return to America in time to get a real job in some Dutch farmer's fields with a master's degree in cabbage picking. Also, he can always work in the adult movie industry. He'll become a proficient at fluffing.
Do not speak too soon. I am actually I think it's a step away from Hank and Johnny making OnlyFans. I think that is very possible to see in the future.
I was checking in on what Johnny was talking about after the stream today, and Hank was literally twerking on him, and they were enjoying their last moments of freedom, we'll say. Jamie Moodley with a 14 Zar says the deepfake scandal last year was wild. What is ESMSHS? I don't know what that is.
ESMSHS. I don't know.
Not sure. We'll have to.
There's a lot of like serious scandals in Korea about deepfakes, and there's a lot of there are a lot of like really screwed up cases in Korea where there's like people whose like daughter or whatever got a deepfake, and like it's like there's really bad stuff.
Yeah, that's always like unfortunate. A lot of these victims are like really insecure young people.
Because Josh, when we think like deepfake, we think like a Ghibli or something like that, or something like silly.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
This is not like, and we think of like one, and we think of it with adults, right? We don't think about with children and like targeting people and going for them and harassing them. And remember, his plan all along was to blackmail Bong Bong. We literally have him on video saying, "I'm going to pressure her. I'm going to put Uno reverse on her. I'm going to try to press charges against her." Which once again, criminal charges aren't in his hands. He has no power over that. But he was really coming for her specifically and trying to shame her and trying to quote unquote expose her to the Korean public and have the public shame her for OnlyFans, etc. So that was his strategy, which prosecutors do not take kindly to intimidation of victims.
No, that's a serious issue in Asian countries as well. Like defamation in most Asian countries, you don't even have truth is not even a defense in many cases.
Nope.
And the smallest things can actually completely tank your career. And one of the most famous and interesting ones, I think, is a really great example of the difference between Western and Korean culture. Is the actor that played the Thanos character on Squid Game season 2? I believe he was a K-pop star in Big Bang or something. Basically, he was arrested for smoking weed, and that completely destroyed his career. And having him in Squid Game season 2, even like 10 years later or whatever, it was incredibly controversial. And like obviously nobody in Western countries would care about that at all. But this was a really big issue in Korea. So even like things that might be innocuous to us can absolutely destroy your entire standing, career, face, everything. So they can come at you even if what you say is true. They can come at you and basically just say this person caused me damage to my income, and now they got to pay. And unfortunately, John doesn't have anything to pay with though, so that's unfortunate. He's paying Hank with something. Well, that's true. Chris Kelly with £2 says, "Hail to the grind set." Yes, we have. Be sure to leave a like for your our grind set appearance. It helps
yes,
out there.
all 1,551 of you, please leave a like. This is memecopium's like first time getting this much attention, so he needs to. Well, that's not true, but I know it's a lie. I know I'm messing with you.
I mean, it's surprising though because there is a conspiracy to suppress my channel. Obviously the YouTube collaborators. Maybe it's Jim Felt behind the scenes. I don't know. That's why he retired from the police force. JP Raven5 with 5 says, "I think dropping the CSH charge temporarily was a 4D chess move. Got him to what is CHS?"
So child sexual harassment. So here's the thing about this charge, which is really interesting. So they can revive charges, and it actually what it did was it confirmed my speculation. Well, it wasn't speculation. It was based on stuff we saw that Johnny leaked. But it allows the Korean media to talk about it because it's clear and a fact. And they weren't going to talk about it based on me gathering information, talking about it like through things I've ascertained from him. So now, because Johnny leaked it on his own, it not only opened it up, but it opened up to people submitting information. And let's just say there's going to be a refiling of that because he's done some things involving children, which are illegal in Korea since then, additional crimes. So let's just say there's going to be more things filed against him related to children. And once again, all of his talk about that sort of stuff is really disgusting and vile. I mean, once again, he's called himself Diddy and Epstein. And if you've paid attention to the Diddy trial right now, that is not a person that you'd want to compare yourself to.
I mean, the funny thing is, it seems like every other month. Like I was kind of my expectation for this today's trial was that he would plead guilty, he'd get no charges, then he'd come back next month, he'd plead guilty, he'd get more charges. And I thought this was going to go on and go on and on. So the 3-month gap was actually kind of a surprise to me. I think it was a surprise to most people, but it is funny. It is hilarious how they can keep stringing this along basically forever, even if he doesn't.
And this is what we said in the beginning, is that he's going to die by procedure, but they laughed. They thought it was a joke. They made fun of Korea, and literally it's FAFO. Like you screwed up now, like really big time.
Well, a lot of people think that he didn't get a proper punishment in Japan either, and I guess that's correct technically because he was incentivized to go do it again. But he actually had what was
he
it
didn't
like
stop.
5 months in detention in Japan, which was crazy, really.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't.
Prison.
It wasn't enough. It was not enough.
True,
I mean, clearly,
that is true. That is true. All right, we've got Casparius. Oh, hold on, sorry, my thing's lagging for a second. What the heck? I just realized I'm on memecopium channel. I thought this was Legal Mindset's channel. You'll be doing a more detailed stream in about 30 minutes, as I understand.
Yeah, I will be, and I hope that y'all can come over and bring your cope over there, and we'll talk about it. Also, shout out to Yellow Flash in the chat. I see you there, buddy.
Oh, how's it going, buddy? And Dorby with a 5 says, note to self, do not screw with the Koreans.
How about this? Don't fuck around in a foreign. How about this one? Don't fuck around in a foreign country. How about you just respect them and enjoy the country and go home?
That is a great thing to do. I mean, it's just simple, right? You go to someone's house and they ask you to take your shoes off, you do it because you're in their house. And these countries are so great to visit. Like we were in Busan together in November to see Jeff. We'll have to have a drink with Jeff next time.
R.I.P.
Yeah. And it was just such a wonderful place. That everything was clean. Everything was everyone was polite. Everything was on time. It was just a wonderful place to be. And I really want to go back to Busan at some time. But I'd probably be going to Seoul next, I think. It's been a while since I've been there.
I mean, I think that would be really fun, especially in August. Sounds like a good place.
Actually, I might do August. I'll have to check on that. But yeah, these places are so much fun to visit, and you have the best time. You get a chance to just go out there. But we want to keep them that way, right? These people, these aren't just like resorts. People live here, people work here. You have to respect that they don't want to see some noisy guy making chimp noises on a bus. And I can say that because he was actually making chimp noises on a bus now, apparently. So there you go, right?
Literally, he was chimping out, and that's in the legal record. That's not me. That's a legal record.
Is this the first? Well, in Korea, perhaps. There's a few things that he's, I guess, blazing new trails with both the twerking, the first appearance of that in a Korean document, as well as chimping out.
Yes.
Oh, very, very. What a legacy! What a legacy. Danny with a 40 TBH says Johnny Somali and Hank are live on YouTube right now. Anything to say?
No, they're just going to make asses of themselves. I don't address them and their shenanigans other than when they commit crimes because it's really not relevant.
Hold on. I have one thing to say. Oh, here it is. They're struggling over here. This is a message from Hanky Poo. He says legal fees are very taxing me. If anyone wants to help me out with legal fees, please donate. Also, Johnny has a travel ban. Korea doesn't let him work and doesn't give any support. Johnny is out of money now, and I am supporting him. Well, it's his mother supporting him. There is no choice. I will starve if I don't. They're literally starving, chat.
You know what's funny?
Chat is a ramen not in their mouth.
Josh, the Koreans love that. That is the thing they really, really, really love is that they're starving and have no money. That to them is the most hilarious thing. It's all over the media. Everybody talks about it. And of the 2 questions the media asked today, it says, do you still think Korea is a vassal state? That's 1. And number 2 was, how are you going to pay your legal fees? Literally, that was what they care about, is that he has no money and he's a broke boy. So make fun of him for being a broke boy.
Am I correct in thinking that their lawyer he's not really equipped to do this because isn't he like a tax accountant or something?
I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear because I don't want to defame the lawyer or say anything bad about the lawyer. But that said, we do speculate he's like a friend of the family and he may be doing this in pro bono or like a highly discounted rate. There was a note that Johnny owes him $1,000 at some point, or no, sorry, owes him I think $700 or something at some point. He did it with an IOU. So
I was literally going to say that an IOU scribbled on on a bar napkin or something, saying I'm good for it. Just trust me.
Yeah, trust me, bro. So I think this is a discounted rate, and we may very well see this lawyer withdraw at a certain point when he gets over his head in terms of time that he's invested in this.
Well, I mean, Johnny's probably the worst client you can have, so hopefully this is a learning experience, and at the very least, he'll have some nice drinking stories after Johnny's in prison.
Sure.
That'd be nice. Jamie asked, is Legal Mindset covering the Kim So Hyun stuff? Who is Kim So?
No, not yet. And a lot of people have asked me to cover other Korean stuff, but frankly, I'm focusing on Johnny mainly because he's an American in Korea. I'm not focusing on a lot of like Korean stuff. There's probably Korean lawyers that can handle that better. It's more appropriate for them. I'm trying to focus more on the nuisance streamers, and there's a lot of them to go around. So there's a lot of crimes for those guys. So I'm not going to go and like start suddenly covering a bunch of Korean stuff. People want me to cover K-pop stuff, Chaebol stuff. I'm really not going to be doing that. If there's stuff involving nuisance streamers or Americans being, annoying abroad or committing crimes, I'll definitely cover that.
Okay, good stuff. And Harold said, it's as if live streaming your crimes is a bad idea. I mean, yeah.
Who would have thunk?
What could possibly go wrong? Ryobi, who I believe is a regular in your chat.
Yes.
With a 20 Canadian. Thank you very much. He says, Johnny Somali and Hank kind of remind you of that guy who tried to attack VTuber Smug Alana. I don't know who this is. Sorry. Maybe Weeble Mindset knows.
I know Smug Alana. She's a VTuber. She's really cool.
Okay. Where they self-report themselves expressing with wanting relations with minors. Oh my goodness.
See, and then attacking back and threatening. Yeah. So here's the thing. A lot of these people, like it's what's happening with Kirsha. I know you've covered that the other day. A lot of these people, when they make accusations, like they'll call you things like, Nick Rekieta, made some accusations about you. He's made the same accusations about me. And the funny thing is they often are the people doing the crimes, right? They're often the people that are associating with people doing those crimes. So it often ends up being projection when they say a lot of these things.
Confession, or is it confession by projection, as one lawyer would happen to say?
It's like, how do you know so much about that? Oh, wait, because you're the one committing that crime.
Especially when they're oddly specific. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like candlelight specific.
That is weird. Was he watching a bunch of what was that Kubrick movie called? Barry Lyndon or something before then? We gave up American Beauty for Barry Lyndon, I believe. Maybe. Anyway, Brandon is in your garage with a 5. Says, do we think Vitaly and Johnny's situation is the beginning of the end for nuisance streamers, or does something more extreme need to happen? That's an interesting question.
The verdict is going to be the decide. If Johnny Somali gets hit hard, I think that will be not an end, but it'll be a downward arc for nuisance streamers. I think there will still probably have to be one or two more that are hit with criminal charges. I think it can also change legislation. It can change laws. It can change rules. And I think that can change the climate to being very friendly towards them, towards disincentivizing them. So I think Vitaly definitely is a huge W so far. Even what's happened so far is a massive W with Vitaly. But Somali needs to get prison time. He needs to be behind bars. Otherwise, it'll be perceived as just a joke, and it'll actually increase the number of nuisance streamers because it'll show them that they can do what they want to do, and they're going to get away with it.
Well, I mean, he even said he was planning to go right back to doing what he was doing if and when he gets out of Korea. So
any other country would probably deny him at the border, if not arrest him pretty immediately.
We're already seeing actually this happen in real time, as I believe Joshua Block, is that the guy's name?
Josh Block,
denied at the border of
Dubai.
Dubai,
UAE, United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, that's right. And he went on a bit of a nuisance stream himself in Kyoto and in Tokyo. He was throwing beer at people. He was smashing bottles, and he actually got taken in by a citizen's arrest, and he was questioned by the police. And we talked about this a little bit because it was actually a very real threat for him if he got committed in Japan, which is something you don't want to do. Because I told you that I knew one of the people I went to university.
You told me.
He actually died in a Japanese asylum because he had a freak out, and they tied him down to a bed for 10 days. Yeah, I think he got deep vein thrombosis, I think it was. And he basically just died alone because a lot of Asian countries don't have the best relationship with mental health. And you send someone over there who's like specifically his entire gimmick is to get triggered. Joshua Block was very, very lucky. But that's a story for another day, I think. It's quite wild and long, actually. All right, so going back to this, was there anything more we needed from this one?
No, let's move on if we can.
All right, so after the trial, Hank raged outside of the courtroom, cursed out everyone else, and insulted their mothers. Oh my God. Why could Hank be so grumpy? Is it because he's got to pay for this freeloader for another year, perhaps?
He genuinely thought Johnny was going home like today. Like, because Hank thinks he's his lawyer. Like when the media was asking him questions, Hank kept saying, Johnny has no comment. Johnny has no comment. Right. So like Hank believes, because his grandpappy was a prosecutor, he believes he knows everything about the law. The thing is, he doesn't. And it's shown time and time again that they've been wrong, and that he is indeed not going home. This is not ending anytime soon. And in fact, everything that I've said, if anything, has been conservative on the timeline. Even I did not predict there'd be a 3-month gap. I actually initially said on my live stream, oh yeah, the next trial will probably be next month. And then I got an update from Dr. Ulrich and the Somali conviction team. Oh no, it's in August, which to me, I was shocked that they put it 3 months down the line. Of course, that is kind of a due process thing. They give them enough time to prepare a cross-examination, to think about, counter witnesses, stuff like that, and to get the witnesses in place, do, timing. But yeah, that's a long time, man. And remember, this is not going to be it. We still, even after the not guilty part, where they're trying to prove they're not guilt, the next one is just the victim testimony. And then the defense has to bring on their side. So the defense has to put on their day. The earliest that would be with September. But what if they do a 3-month break for that? What if that one goes from August to November or October? And then we have to have, after they present that, victim testimony from the other crimes. So all the victims of the other crimes may get an opportunity to speak. That's December, right? Oh no. Then there's the closing arguments. That's another month. And then sentencing is a separate month. Are you getting where we're going? It's almost certainly 2026 at this point.
We might have to do a vote to see when he's getting out, because 36 years, I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not happening. It's not happening. The maximum is not happening. I know it's a good clickbait title. However, Josh, I will be honest with you. I was asked this today. People said over 10 years. And I said, before today, I thought under. After today, I think it's a possibility. It's a real possibility he could get over 10 years. It is a real possibility.
So that means he would be 34 at least. Probably
something like that.
Because the trial's going to last a year at least, I believe.
Let's say he got 11 years. I don't think that's unreasonable at this point.
I mean, yeah, before these the deepfake stuff come in, I thought it was going to be at least a year and probably a hefty fine, but I guess not the case. Now, I'm thinking at least 3 years just to teach him a lesson.
And imagine if they bring back something like child sexual harassment.
Yeah, and the thing is, Johnny is still a free-ranged idiot. He can go out there, he can go get drunk tonight and then decide to go run around in his underwear again. And then wham, he's got these additional charges. And
you've got stuff like that thing that happened with Nana, which hasn't been brought up yet. You've got other stuff that it was filed against him, other stuff he said. So you've got other stuff that hasn't come yet. And remember, until sentencing, until that last day, they can bring more charges. Isn't that great?
Every single day is another day he's not allowed to be working. And he is illegally working because streaming is working. It is income.
Yeah.
But he's running out of money. He's begging for crumbs. It's just he's going to get more and more on a hinge as we go through, which is very funny.
I love it.
Tankrat gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much. And,
lots of copium.
Robert Glock says he's the booty bandit. He says 2 white men celebrating the misfortunes, persecution, prosecution, and demise of a brown person. I think that's what I'm watching. I mean, look. We would make fun of Atali as well, but it's not our fault that Johnny literally made chimp noises on a bus. Okay,
you can't make this up.
We didn't make this up. Okay. Oh my goodness, he's gonna run around with a banana tomorrow morning or something. Who can say? Roby with a 5. He says, once you watch a live stream about the laws between Canada and Japan, how the corp could potentially be in a lot of trouble, I got hooked and stayed.
Yeah, VTuber coverage came. And it's really interesting because this is also kind of like cross-cultural, and it's really an instance where a lot of people are trying to apply American law here. And actually the Korean system is modeled on Germany. It's not even modeled on the United States. And it's very much different, both in culture and in practice and procedure. So a lot of the assumptions people are making are just wrong. People ask me, oh, is he going to get credit for time served? What time served? He's not detained right now, right? People are asking all sorts of stuff that it doesn't really apply in Korea because that's not how they do it. Once they put you in there, that's your time in there. You don't get out early. So, it's not going to be fun for him when this finally gets to sentencing.
I'm very much looking for. I really want to go to the last trial. Like I said,
I'll be there for that one for sure.
But the last one, I've got to see the last one.
I'll be there for that one for sure.
Yeah. Asian Dragon with a $5. He says, I can be wrong, but is it true most Asian insane asylums is more about restrained mental patients due to control their actions, not like in Western culture? There is a lot of restraints in Japanese mental health. I can't tell you about Korean, but there's a lot of problems with the Japanese mental health system in general. And there's constant human right violations, and it's almost like a for-profit business. So they try and keep you detained for as long as possible, because then they can keep charging medicine to the national health insurance, which is a mandatory thing in Japan, and everyone pays. So as long as if they get any patient, they can make bank off them. It's a grift. Quite a sinister. It is honestly a very sinister grift. But I mean, like we were walking around in Osaka, right? Like at a train station, and we saw a couple of people that were clearly needed some sort of assistance, and they're just walking around screaming. I mean, I guess they were equipped to be outside by themselves because they could use the train, but people were just ignoring them. Like very much Japanese and Asian culture is about ignoring problems and hammering down people that are standing out. So someone that can't control the way that they speak, or someone that can't control, how energetic or how genki they say they can be, they can end up being completely ostracized from society, and they just become like, it's very strange. It's like lonely in a crowd, I think they call it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. And all right. So Ramsey and Hank accidentally walked into the basement.
So they were so pissed. They were so on tilt that you got the video, right?
Yeah, so this is from Johnny So Somali. He says more footage of Hank. And Johnny So Somali, and also 15 Minutes of Fame. I got some clips from them today, so definitely check out their channels. I'll link
this one was one I was actually sent this one. I hadn't posted or played it yet, but I guess the same person sent it to Johnny So Somali. So they got it out.
He does have his hat here, but I believe he put this on after he left the courtroom, because he
did not wear it in the courtroom. He did not wear it in the courtroom. That's 100% confirmed.
So Johnny So Somali says, more footage of Hank Yo with his butt boy Johnny Somali. This time, grouchy Hank has a little temper tantrum and says, go fuck your mum, fuck your dad. Hey, oh yeah, Hanky Poo. He's such a... Never mind. I won't read that.
Don't read that last part. That's his comment. But just play the video.
But we'll play the video. All right, let's take a look. Oh, he seems grumpy.
Ryan, aren't you like 40-something?
Johnny's going to be 40-something when he gets out of prison at this rate. It's a bit of a weird insult. He might regret that one.
Hey, are you older than me and possibly more responsible? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure.
I mean, the nice thing about being that age is typically you have a bit of money and free time saved up, so you have the ability to go do what you want, like travel. Unfortunately, Johnny's just going to be traveling to and fro the courtroom for the next few months, I suppose. Well, I guess he's got a break until August, so I guess you just have to figure something out to do. Have you been to this particular stairwell?
Oh, yeah, many times. This is the Western Courthouse. I was there before to scout it out. I was there at the trial. Yeah, I know this staircase. It's on the fourth. He's on the fourth floor, so he walks down 5 floors.
Oh, they walk down into the basement. Imagine going up this staircase. I assume they have air conditioning here, but imagine going up this staircase in that hot August weather. Oh my God.
They have air conditioning, but yes, it would be in outside. They don't to get there, so he's going to be sweating to get in there, especially if he's wearing black again.
Oh my goodness! Down into the basement, down, Johnny. Suffer. I mean, no, never mind. I was going to
see and that's that last part. You see Johnny turn around, which is why they turn off the camera, because he's going to walk back in their face. So that's where it's the basement. So that last part right there. So yeah, that's where they hit the basement.
So sad. Very funny. All right. Now let me see, where were we? Ramsey. So apparently Ramsey was the more reasonable of the two. Now that is new information.
And that is because, according to everybody who was there, he is probably, the assessment is he's scared now. He does not know what's happening. He doesn't trust Hank because Hank has consistently lied about what's happening. He's downplayed it. And he said, oh, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And at every turn, I've been right. And there have been more charges added every single month. We started with 1, ladies and gentlemen. We're at 7 now. It hasn't been even 7 months since this case was like formally, since it really got going and started in the first hearing. So literally every month that this case has been going since it actually started, we've got multiple charges added. So think about that. By August, it's not unrealistic to not only say 8 charges, possibly 10. We might have 10 charges against him before he even comes to the next trial. So just think about that, guys. And like that is absolutely freaking him out because nothing that Hank has said has been true. It's all been proven wrong, and it's all gotten worse and worse and worse for Johnny. Today got way worse for Johnny.
I mean, it might be safe to call this I kind of called it the worst day in his life, I think, when he got those August results. But I guess it's the worst day of his life so far. It could get much worse, and I'm sure it's going to get much worse. Very funny stuff. All right, now there was something else that I had. But I guess you got to go in about 10 minutes, correct?
Yeah, I want to know if there's anything else you want to ask me or any other stuff you wanted to run by me.
Well, I mean, I was gonna ask the chat what their predictions were. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but out of the 36 years, headlines, realistically, what do you think the over/under is on this, and what is the most likely and some outside chances? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, so my estimate is still people ask me over under 10, and I said, yeah, it's possible, but I gave it a 75-25. Okay, maybe it's probably going to be under 10, but I think 5 is very reasonable at this point. I'm me guessing 5 years. That's not unreasonable. And even look at this. If you got a year per serious charge, let's take out the Minor Crimes Act, that's 5 years. So if you got 1 year for each of those, 5 years, I think that's not an unreasonable thing at this point at all whatsoever. And once again, think about that. His trial goes until 2026, 5 years. We're talking about getting out in 2031.
That's trying to think of what I'll be doing in that time.
Yeah, no, I mean, nice. we'll still be doing our thing. I mean, we'll still be tubing. You might actually have enough subscribers to argue with former attorneys, but it's something where your life can change so much in 5 years. And 5 years ago, I was when I barely started this channel. I think I maybe just started this channel. Your life can radically change in 5 years. But for Johnny, his life will have gotten radically worse. He will be completely irrelevant. People will only remember him based on the movies and stories and books that are written about mocking his life. He will be something he'll be the Betamax tape, right? The thing you remembered from that era that was a total failure. And everything will have moved on. He'll be incapable of doing anything in 2031. I mean, by then AI will already have taken over. He won't have
nuisance streamers that'll take over his job. There's actually already been some guy, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a Japanese streamer. He's an old dude. He's actually pretty funny. And he does streams virtual nuisance streaming where he's just got a green screen and he just plays a train in the background and then he just dances around and does loud music, but he's doing it from his own home. So he's not actually annoying anyone. It's actually pretty funny. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with that because it's just a digital thing. So they actually do have digital nuisance streamers is already a thing and they're already stealing their jobs. I guess it's just another long line of those things. Do you want to do a bet? I like bets. $20
let's do it. What's the bet? I'll buy you a strong zero. That's it. Strong zero is bet.
I say Johnny. I say the judge is nice to him and he gets 3 years, but the court case takes a year and a half, so he gets out about 28, 29. That's what I'm going to say.
That's a pretty thin margin, but I'll still take you up on that bet. I'll go 2031 or up. So if it's above 2031, I win.
That's not fair. Come on.
No. You're going to the under. The under is the easier bet.
Is it? I don't know. Chat. What do you think? We'll have to.
The under is the easier bet because it's harder to go up. So, some people say 7. That's not unreasonable either. I don't think 7's unreasonable.
All right, I'll do a quick poll in the chat. I'll do it because we've got a couple minutes. I was going to watch the Geno stuff, but
do you think? Here's the one thing: if he gets out in 2031, do you think by then any Minnesota lawyers will have violated their probation?
That's a good question. Maybe we should make the bet: will Johnny be able to drink again by the same time that Nick can?
That's a good one.
Yeah. How long will Johnny be in for? We'll say 0. Then we have my one, which is 1 to, we'll say 1 to 4. Yours is what, 5 up?
5 plus.
Okay. I'll say never leaves. Why not?
YOLO.
There we go. All right, we'll do the poll, quick, a couple-minute poll. Dorby with the 5 says German law seems fair until the Russians corner Hitler in his bunker and the guards come in and garrot, right? You with a piano wire.
Hey, wait, doesn't that confirm that he was didn't we just confirm he survived to Colombia now? Didn't that just happen?
Isn't it Argentina?
Whatever. It was South America. He got to South America. So
Got any Argentinian blood in you, Andrew?
No, I do not.
Really? Okay, just checking. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure with a 5 says Somali is probably still holding out hope that Trump will bail him out. That's never going to happen.
Never going to happen. And once again, he said too much. He plays both the woke and the right side equally, right? So he plays the race card, and he plays the, I'm Juicy Smollett or whatever, he wants to say, which isn't a good comparison. Like, he plays both of those equally. He will be whatever he needs to be to try to get out of things. And that would damage relations. The one thing about Johnny Somali, and I told this in my interview with Korean Press, the one thing about him, they said, do Americans want him, punished? I said, the one thing Americans agree on right now is punishing Johnny Somali. Right, left, conservative, liberal, it does not matter. Everybody wants this guy punished, especially, like, once again, black community in America absolutely despises this guy because a lot of them feel unsafe to travel to Asia because they think that Somali made a bad name for them. And once again, even if that's just a feeling, that has impacted a large group of people. It's also impacted the Somali community, and he's not even Somali.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a very real concern because, as you know, I do some travel stuff in my other ventures. And like, one question I was literally getting was, are nuisance streamers going to make it so I can't travel to these countries? And I talked to some people about this. I interviewed some people as well. And it is a concern, and things are changing. Like, I'm seeing more signage around. But typically, if you, I mean, hopefully these wankers don't ruin it for all of us, right? But even though online it seems like a lot of people are very angry and like you might be worried about visiting like Japan or Korea, people are really nice, and if you just do your best, and even if you make a mistake, if it's earnest, people will forgive you. So there's some hope on that front at least. But I mean, for that hope to remain, we need to see some of these people actually be taken down, so that there's incentive not for them to do this. There is actually some self-censorship that's going on. That's part of the Gino clip that we might not have time to get to, unfortunately.
Not this time. I'd be happy to talk about it another time with you, but that's well, Gino, here's the thing about Gino. Let me say this real quick, is that he really got away with it. And he talks about how he got lucky, but he actually listened to people. So everybody else was saying stop and get out, and Gino got out. He listened. The thing is, Johnny didn't listen. Even his own mods were telling him, get out, don't do it, leave, get out of here. And he couldn't stop. He couldn't help himself. And that's the story of like going too far, right? Is like he got high in his own supply, and he couldn't stop.
Yeah, well, that's to summarize this 3-minute clip. I can send you this if you want to use it.
Sure, I will, yeah.
Gino he got unbanned from Kick. He was banned from a year, I believe. And I believe Gino was also the cameraman for Johnny while he was in Japan. So he went to Korea with Johnny, is that correct as well?
Correct.
Yeah. And he would have to be for this story to be true, I suppose. But he claims that people started coming up to the hotel that they were staying at. I'm not sure if it was like a motel or if it was like an Airbnb or something. But he claims that the owner didn't tell the police that he was there because he can't divulge that information. But the very next day, he went straight to the airport out of fear. And he basically put on a mask, he put on a beanie, and he hid in a bathroom until his plane was ready to leave, and he got out of Korea that very next day. And the day after that is when Johnny tried to leave, and he got his travel ban, so he couldn't. So Gino may have actually just escaped sharing Johnny's fate, which is very funny. And I guess some people get away, right? But as a result, he actually goes in later in this clip to talk about how he is blacklisted from hanging out with CX, which I believe is Ice Poseidon's crew. And these are primarily IRL streamers, and a lot of them do a lot of nuisance content. And they're upset. They're actually self-censoring people in their own community now because they can't really get away with it anymore. Like if you saw Ice Poseidon in Japan, he was being hounded by all the Japanese people. He was being denied services from ferries, from hotels, from taxis, things like that. Like they're definitely like.
Do you feel bad? Do you feel bad for him at all?
Not at all. Especially because the place his ferry got denied was in Kagoshima, which is a beautiful prefecture that I love very much. So I'm happy to see that they took some.
I have no sympathy, and I'm actually proud of these businesses for exercising their complete right to deny service. I think more businesses need to do this. And you say, yeah, we're not having you here. And when you make a country inhospitable for these type of people, I think that's a great thing. I think it's a perfect thing. And I think more people should take after Japan like that. Now, I think the best thing is to deny them to the country, right? So if you deny them at the border, they cannot harm anyone. But by letting them in, they're still able to harm people, even if it's just through annoyance. So just make a blacklist of them, ban them at the border, and I think that's the best way to go with nuisance streamers.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the border, I am going to run for the border here as I make my my less than Irish exit. But
absolutely, let me just quickly check to make sure any of these chats aren't directed to you. Yeah, I can clean up on these. I think thank you for having us, for coming on. I should say, not having us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here on this very very good live stream with you. It's good to talk with you. I hope I can make another one of your Friday streams and maybe bring a couple more strong zeros for that.
We haven't had a Friday stream in a while because BP was being lame and having children, and now he's got a son. And now he's got 3 kids, so we got to wait.
I think he needs a Friday stream. I think that's a reason why you need a Friday stream.
That's true. But I guess maybe we'll go hang out with Max and everything. Maybe sometime soon. Probably in summer. Summer's a good time.
Summer Friday stream.
All right. So I'll clean up with these. Thank you for being here, and might be seeing you soon. And we might be having another scene very soon. We might be having another stream very soon. But let's just say it's a bit of a more spicy stream. Or should I say a more spicer stream?
I'm here for that because I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say on that topic as well. But until then, guys, take care. Catch you later. Peace.
Yep. And all right, chat. So if you just stay with me for a second, I'll clean up these chats, and then I'll stream raid you over to Andrew so you don't miss out on his content as well. Very generous day today. We had 1,600 people live, which is pretty nice. It must be nice, right? All right, like Johnny thinks he's a booty warrior. Well, he's going to be visited by a few booty warriors, that is for sure. Tankrat with 25. Did I miss this one? No, I didn't miss this one. My current bet is that he'll be slapped with a minimum of 16 years. Look, if he gets 16 years, I'll buy you a beer, Tankrat. How about that? I don't think so, but you can clip me, you can quote me, remind me of this. I'm on the table for like, what I say, 4 years plus 1.5 years trial time. So we'll do it. We'll make a bet on this. How about that? Asian Dragon says, but all the clips RKI goes on live and harasses people. The judge, the prosecutors, the bailiffs, could be high chance he will get the maximum. It is true. It is not a good idea to antagonize the people that you are depending on. In fact, I do have another clip that we didn't get to show you, but this is days before the Johnny Somali court cases. Johnny was saying this about his own judge, which is not a good idea.
The judge, the prosecutor, y'all can suck my bitch ass. Yeah, suck.
Oh my goodness, my internet's lagging now. Maybe it's dying. Who can say? If there's any Fs, put the Fs in the chat. I think I might have to reload this actually. No, there it is. There it goes. Oh, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Oh well, but basically he was just telling the judge to get fucked and everything. All right, did I miss one?
Causing anxiety.
Oh, okay, just my internet being crap, I guess. All right. Rhino Knife with a 5 says, here's the poll. How many crimes will he commit while he's in jail? I'm pretty sure he's going to have crimes committed against his lower booty. Asian Dragon with a 5 says, Josh, will Google Translate be okay to translate English to Japanese? It'll get you far enough. You don't have to worry too much about Japanese in Japan because everything, all the signage has English. And they've really done a really good job updating all the interactions and everything to be English, specifically for the Tokyo Olympics that never happened. So you can actually take advantage of that. And yeah, Google Translate will get you through. It'll be just fine. Japan is a very easy country to travel with with no Japanese whatsoever. And Letty with a $1.99 says, I have a question for him. Hold him for 5 minutes. No, that's not going to happen. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I think we got everyone. I will send you over to Legal Mindset, but I will just ask you one more time to like this stream, as we do know. You know, I'm being suppressed. So you got to hit that like button.
Hit like if you like the show. If you don't like the show, don't hit like, or hit thumbs down. Be like, this guy sucks. I don't mind. But if you do like the show, hit that like button. It really does. I got to remind YouTube that I'm here. They are not distributing things out.
I'm being oppressed, chat. Help, I'm being oppressed. All right, enjoy Andrew's stream. This was a based episode. We'll be back real soon, and maybe some dinosaur games tomorrow. We'll see. No promises, but we'll see. We'll see. And let me know if you thought that this episode was based or not, and enjoy Andrew's content.
Now it's time to see which of our stories are based. Was this story based? Yes. Was this story based? Yes, it was. If you thought this story was based, you're right. This tale of a mysterious force protecting a pharmacy is based. Is this story based? Did you think this one was based? If you thought this one was based, you're right.